What's poppin', y'all? After not being able to take a loss, Blueface makes it even worse for himself for not being able to collect a check. And now they're even accusing Adin Ross and his promotion of lying. So the lie that they're saying that happened, and this is Whack 100 who manages Blueface saying it happened, was that Ruga, that was supposed to be the original opponent for Blueface, the commission said that he couldn't fight, and they're saying, and he's saying, that's a lie.
If you watch that fight back, I guarantee you're going to say, nah, Whack, they robbed him.
I don't know. I think him just being down to fight some guy that was way heavier than him, probably not a great idea.
That we got a week before.
Right, but you guys did sign on the dotted line.
Now here goes the lies.
Okay.
Since we're going to expose it.
What?
The commission never said they're denying Ruga. That was them.
You're saying that Brand Risk or Ruga's team?
No, Ruga never turned down nothing.
Okay.
Ruga was pissed off. The commission never said they denied Ruga.
Then who did?
Whoever this bozo name is, what's his name? Jordan.
Jordan decided he didn't want Ruga to fight Blueface.
Exactly.
But he was on the phone with me a couple days before that decision got made, and that was the fight that he wanted to make happen. I tried to tell him
who wanted to make happen.
That Jordan wanted to make happen. I'm telling you, I'm on the phone with Jordan telling him, have Blueface fight Crip Mac. It'll be the most viral thing ever. And he said, no, I think it'll be better if he fights Ruga. I was like, okay, whatever. Either way, it's entertaining from my perspective.
First of all, I would never allow the Crip Mac fight to happen anyway because ain't no guarantee he gonna show up.
So you're saying that Brand Risk and Jordan in particular, I guess, that they wanted to put Chibu in there instead of Ruga because it was a good opportunity for their fighter.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Interesting.
So this is very odd because Jordan, he's a co-owner of Brand Risk. He helps put on a lot of the fights. Adam 22 was certainly correct in saying that Blueface versus Crip Mac would go viral, but I don't think that's a fight you would want to put together. Like, you want to give Crip Mac somebody that he's for sure gonna beat. That way, I don't even know if he would have the stamina, to be honest, because just seeing Crip Mac versus Dean the Great damn near took out Crip Mac with a body shot. So they would have to give Crip Mac somebody his own size, weight, that they would know that he would beat on to like kind of build him up a little bit, because I think he'd probably have a more sustainable career than Blueface. Not sustainable because he does a lot of gang stuff, but because I think he would like the consistent paycheck. But this started with Blue not being able to get paid because of breaches of contract, and Adin would talk about those breaches.
There's actual contractual obligations that he didn't follow, so he breached. He was supposed to wear a rain patch on his shorts. He didn't, and he's gonna have to pay $100,000 for that. He breached another confidential, like he can't speak about anything, money, how much he got paid or whatnot. And we asked him to retract his statements, and he didn't. We gave him some time. We didn't want to do it. Now we're going to do it. So, yeah, we tried. We tried working with him and Whack, and they weren't really with it. And they didn't want to work with us, so sucks. But, yeah, we tried. I literally wanted to pay him multiple times. You could ask Ack. Every fighter got paid after Brand Risk. Every fighter. Everybody's paid except him. Why? Because you can't go around saying that it's rigged, and you can't not wear a rainback patch on your shorts when you contractually sign an obligation. And, yeah, you can't talk about how much you're paying or being paid. So, yeah, it sucks because he is probably one of the worst people to ever work with when it comes to business ever. And, yeah, it sucks. Allegedly, in my opinion, of course. It really sucks. So, yeah. That's it. Well, Sway. Look at Gypsy Crusader, someone I legit hates me. So easy to work with. So easy and professional. And very easy to work with. And it's like the exact opposite here, man. You know? It is what it is. So even he stood up for me, you know? I have no say, and he knows this because he's fought before. I have no say on who wins and who loses. No say. And if people think I'm going to jeopardize a real business, Brand Risk, that actually could sell it one day over a $10,000 friendly wager with academics, you're out of your mind. I'm making millions of dollars. So
Blueface would go on and say, never said how much I was paid. The excuses are becoming evident. Was never contracted to wear a patch. And even if I was fined $100K, that's not even half of what's owed. Talking about retract my statement. Why would I do that if I was never compensated? Further, this makes no sense. Why would he get compensated and paid and then they would, expect him to take back what he said? That's what the agreement is for. If they just pay him, then he's not going to take back anything. And what are they going to do after that? Oh, I'd start suing him to try to get the money back? Come on, dog. Further proving my point, this was bad business from the opponent changing a week before the fight and my original opponent still on the event. Now, to go back to Blueface's credit here, this is what WAC 100 said too. The way that it seemed like in the first place was that the commission did not clear Ruga to fight at all. And then they had to get a new opponent. And the opponent for Blueface was Chibu, who was 270 something pounds. And Blueface was 210 pounds. Now, granted, these guys did agree that they would add more rounds. So they turned it into 6 rounds, 6 2-minute rounds instead of 3 3-minute rounds. And if it was 3 rounds, Blueface would have won the fight. But the fact that it went to 6, Blueface gassed out first. And I don't think they realized how much of an advantage that this guy would have with the extra rounds. Because they thought, okay, Blueface weighs less, it'll be fine. Meanwhile, this guy was hitting Blueface harder than he probably gets hit normally because of the weight difference. He was better conditioned than Blueface as well, and he just looked like he was in control of the fight. But the part where he's talking about he didn't reveal his pay amount, that's not true.
It's not. Boxing is the sport comes with losses. How much did I make on the fight? I ain't gonna tell you how much I made, but I'll tell you that I made over 300,000. I'll let you guess from there. And that's just for the fight. That's not even including nothing else. So it's definitely a celebration, chat.
This causes problems. Yes, he didn't reveal the exact amount that he got paid, but when you say north of this number, that's going to be used in negotiations with other people. Kick learned this as well, because there was a point in time when people were just spamming news of fake deals that Kick streamers were getting, like, yo, $100 million deal, $75 million deal. And Adin Ross and Eddie, the owner of Kick, would talk about how that really harmed them in negotiations because people were coming into negotiations with the anchor price saying that, oh, this person got a $50 million deal. And they're looking at it like, yo, we'll take 30. And he's like, dog, these people were not getting that type of deal. So it does hurt negotiations. Like if he says under a certain amount, I'm guessing that would be a little bit different. But Blueface would go on and say, looking for a way to not pay is not a good look. I'm gonna get mines regardless. And then he says, interesting pattern from such promotion. And he's talking about Adam 22 not getting paid for the Jason Love fight. But here it's a little bit of a different story. Adam 22 did get paid, and Adin Ross even made it clear that he told Adam, he's like, yo, I had to fight for you to get paid because you just walked in there, did not throw a single punch, did a couple of shuffles, side to side shuffles, and didn't get up. And then you got up and you did the interview and it didn't even look like you were gassed. Meanwhile, you see Blueface doing the interview and he's passing out. And then he goes on and follows it up and says, you've been doing this, buddy. And it's a class action lawsuit that targets Steak, Drake, and Adin for some gambling promotion. Granted, the people that sponsored this event, Adin hasn't been with Steak for over a year. So Steak has nothing to do with this. And Adin Ross would reply and say, you're so unintelligent. All you had to do was retract what you said about Ish being rigged and you would have been paid in full. Take some accountability like a grown man you are. You lost. You breached your contract that you signed. That's nobody's fault but you. Do not sign and agree to a contract if you're going to breach out. That's how the law works, dummy. Everyone else got paid out quick. This is actually crazy too. Like he said everybody got paid out that night. Everybody at the event. That's uncommon. That's uncommon even for like actual fighters of other like UFC and things like that, Bellator, and even boxing matches. I don't think they get paid the same night. But you, because you breached, all you had to do was drop the tough guy act, retract what you said about Ish being rigged, and you would have been paid in full. And Adin calls him out for breaching.
I ain't gonna tell you how much I made, but I'll tell you that I made over 300,000.
Like, literally, he didn't say, it doesn't matter. Because my contract is set up in a way where you can't even speak like that. It's breach. But guess what? Do you know how many fighters breach brand risk contracts that I don't go after? Because I with them and I love them. Adam 22 breached. Ask Adam. I fought for him and I made sure he got his money. I did. Ask Adam. They did not want to give him his bread. I made sure Adam got his money. Even though he didn't throw a punch. It breached. Still made sure of it. Why? Because Adam is not going around saying scam, tampering. You're an idiot. Why are you saying that? Why? He could say Adin Ross. He could say brand risk. I just need him to take back rigging, scamming, tampering so I can get him paid out. That's it. What about Gypsy? Gypsy got paid an hour after he fought. Everyone did. Everybody gets paid the same night. But you. I called Rainbet. They do not want to pay him in full. They want to cut him 60%, and they don't want him talking about certain shit. I need to make examples out of people that are disrespectful and don't follow contracts.
So even though Blueface tried to say that, oh, he didn't reveal the real amount, the clause in the contract says you can't even talk about payments at all like that. And this is the clip where Adin Ross, because what happens is Academics gets on a call with Whack 100 during his live stream.
So, basically.
So, at the end of the day, bro, I'm not happy about this shit. They came to me to do a favor.
What do you mean a favor?
They even came to me to do a favor, bro. This fight was a favor, bro. I already had a fight, bro. You get what I'm saying?
So whilst this is going on, Adin Ross is in the chat. And he's like, question mark, 6-figure favor, LOL, holy victim roll, favor, LOL. Now, the favor that Whack 100 is alluding to is that, hey, look, we already had a fight with Nick Young on another promotion, which the fight is still supposed to happen. But this kind of harms that fight because who knows how excited people will still be for that fight. And probably one of the clauses was that they couldn't take another fight. So what Whack 100 was saying is that, hey, look, I had to go back to the other fight promoters and get this done to allow them to let Blueface take this fight on. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to take it, which is correct. And Academics tries to talk about how he tried to mediate this situation.
Adin says, you know what? If you think I'm lying so much, not only will I sign a piece of paper, I'll even have Rainbet sign it. I'm going to send you half of what you're supposed to get from my own bank account. I'll send it. That's the guarantee that so once you sign the paper that he's going to get on stream and say whatever, and remember, you're just saying that you never meant that Rainbet is fixing fights. So Adin's going to pay him half of his personal money. And I'm like, this is a great deal. Whack then says, we want a little bit more than half. He throws on like an extra, I won't say the amount, but I was like, all right, bet. I was like, but Adin's like, all right, I'll do that. So we have a deal. It feels like a LeBron trade, right? We have a deal, in principle. The deal is Adin's going to give half his money, half of the purse that Blueface was earned or owed to Blueface. He's going to sign this little deal thing to say, I am going to clarify that I never meant, even if I insinuated or said, that Rainbet fixed my fight, and then I'll get the other half after the stream. Whack calls me back and says, we ain't doing this. All that for nothing. All that for nothing. Essentially, he tells Adin, if the statement that y'all prepared for me to say, if I say that would, or if Blue says that would be killing his reputation. So he says he's not doing that. I said, Whack, I'm trying to get y'all money. I have no horse in the race.
So this is ridiculous. And they would get on a call, Adin and Whack 100, and this call just spun in circles for forever. So I'm going to save you and just hit you with a couple of the points that Whack 100 made. One of the points that he tried to make was that they didn't know that Adin Ross was the owner of Brand Risk. Now, I'm willing to bet that maybe that's before they took the fight because he would go on and show him looking it up and it not saying Adin Ross on ChatGPT. But when he interviewed Blueface, it was clear that he knew.
Can we get you back in here, bro? Can we see you back in Brand Risk?
Hey, damn well you ain't gonna lose your own money on your own fight card. I definitely wouldn't score that in a unanimous decision. I'd give it 4-2. But hey, shout out to Brand Risk.
Shout out to Brand Risk. And Blue, if you do get back on Brand Risk, do you want a rematch or who do you want to fight?
I probably won't get back on Brand Risk because you tampering with the bets.
Never that. Never that. I don't know what he's talking about.
So here's him saying tampering with bets, and he says your fight card. So he's like, brand risk, that's his fight card, your fight card. So Blueface knew. And if Blueface knew, then I believe that Whack 100 knew when they were going into that event day. And Adin also suns him as a streamer.
I'm the furthest thing from being weird with money. But if a motherfucker tries to get in here and not try to drop his tough guy act, you're a streamer now, bud. You're a streamer now. Act like one. Okay? It ain't that big of a deal. Straight the fuck up. Straight up. It's just stick to a contract that you sign. You're a big boy. You're a big boy. You're a big boy. You're not a child. It's the truth. It's the truth.
So after this, apparently, well, Whack 100 went to the internet about it first and talks about like, yo, Adin Ross was doing some sus stuff. It was like an attempted expose, but it didn't work because everyone that saw the text was like, yeah, this is how Adin behaves. Yeah, he's moving a little bit sus and trolling you. And that's not much of an expose. Adin isn't some tough guy rapper, which this would work on. And there was some miscommunication about Blueface and a statement that Blueface was going to make. But once we've seen the aftermath of this is a couple of days later, we haven't seen any new tweets from Blueface, any retractions. We do see there was one tweet deleted from what I'm gathering, and it seems to be the case that Adin Ross, like you said, $100K fine. So him getting paid 60%, I'm guessing that would be the $100K fine, because if Blueface got paid $400K and then 3/4 is about 75%, that's about $100K fine, and then who knows what fine there is with the shorts. Now, I am more inclined to believe Adin Ross, because if every single person that has ever fought on brand risk has been paid, if Adam 22 got paid for not even fighting, let's keep it a buck, dog. Adam 22 did not fight. He walked in the ring, took a knee, and then walked out, collected his bag, and promoted him and his wife's OF. So if he got paid, we can't be taking Blueface's side. And Blueface or Adin even talked about how, like, yo, this was the worst person to work with ever. Like, they were upset. And he does have a good point where it's like, yo, the integrity of the whole sponsor is taking a hit if you don't take this back. And he even said, like, yo, you could say F me, which he didn't have to do. He could just be like, nah, you're not going to talk about me like that. And I just think it's not even a Blueface's reputation as a rapper thing. I think Blueface just feels like, because if you guys remember years ago, 5 years ago, damn near, DDG brought Blueface onto Adin Ross's stream. And Blueface was kind of bullying him, and he probably still sees Adin Ross as, you know, the guy that he's just bullying, that little kid, and doesn't have the same level of respect for him as he would, I don't know, anybody else. So I don't know if he officially got paid yet. I haven't seen any of that. I do think that Blueface should get paid out because, listen, the guy fought. Now, breaching contract and all that, we don't know what he breached. We don't know the exact contract, but we can also be honest and say, hey, listen, if he breached it, just say like, yo, my bad, take it back and keep it pushing. People are going to forget about it. They're not going to hold it over Blueface's head that he said, yo, I shouldn't have said that just to get his payday. Nobody's going to hold that over his head. Nobody cares about that. And frankly, people don't even really see Blueface as much of a rapper now anyway. And this just doesn't harm Blueface. This is just pride. This is pride for no reason. And I just hope this gets solved. I would like to see Blueface come back there. But to go back to Whack 100's argument, I do believe it's true. Like, for me looking at this, I think what needs to be addressed again is, did the Florida State Commission say that Ruga was not allowed to fight Blueface? Because if that's the case, I'm willing to bet, because what Adin Ross said in the initial part was that, oh, they wouldn't clear him to fight Blue because of the skill gap, when they saw the skill gap. And who Ruga fought, that looked like an even skill gap. It would have been brutal with him fighting against Blueface. Ruga would have gotten knocked out within half a round, probably within 1 minute and 30 seconds. But I was surprised to see Ruga at all, because I was like, wait, hold on, I thought Ruga couldn't fight. But they took the deal. So whatever quote-unquote suspicious thing might have happened so that Ruga got pulled out of the fight and maybe they wanted to make Chibu look better, it doesn't change the fact that they signed the agreement, they added the rounds that they wanted to, and they knew what they needed to do to get paid and breached that anyway. I think that's the most important part out of all of this. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you think Blueface has just been salty about the whole situation and too prideful? Or is Adin Ross the wrong one for having an issue with Blueface out of the hundreds of other people he's ever dealt with? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm see y'all in the next one.